What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the FPL watch list. We are just over 2 weeks away from the start of the season, which means we have got, I think, 3 episodes left before we're all locked in for game week 1. It's fast approaching. Pre-season is in full swing. Bench boost and wildcard chat is dominating everywhere at the moment. And we are going to do our takes on it. We're going to talk about bench boost windows, wildcard windows, lots of different stuff. But Tom, first of all, hello, welcome back. How are we doing?
Hello, everybody. Good to be back. As Thomas says in the chat, the season needs to hurry up. Well, I don't think it does because I'm struggling big time. So hopefully this stream will be good. There's a big João Pedro question in my team that hopefully we can start answering today. And as we record, Man City are playing against the K-League All-Stars. So when Foden smashes in his brace, we can adjust our teams accordingly.
Stephen, how are we doing?
Yeah, all good, all good. Good to be here. I'm having enough trouble building 20 different drafts, and we have to go in and throw some chip strategy talk on top of all of that. So lots to discuss here.
Absolutely. So I think we should just kick straight off. Tom, I know you've got a bit of a news segment, and we can start with that. Just some hot topic signings. Sangare, the new DEFCON beast. Is he going to be this year's Elliot Anderson?
Well, the initial scouting looks decent. He averaged 14.2 DEFCON per 90 last year, which was 0.3 better than Anderson and a whole 2 DEFCONs better than Garner and Ampadu. Obviously, this was in League 1, so we'll have to, I don't know if it will translate properly, but he would have got DEFCON in 18 of his 27 starts last year. And he's come in at 5.5, which is a pretty good price. That puts him level with Caicedo, with Ampadu. So yeah, it's definitely something to monitor. And it's also worth saying that Ipswich have signed Florentino, who you might remember from Burnley last year.
Yeah.
And he was very good for DEFCON at least at the start of the season. So we could be building a picture of the kind of, dare I say, Elliot Anderson of last year.
Yeah, hopefully he comes in at 5 in and amongst some of the other Ipswich, Coventry and Hull midfielders. I mean, he looks great. The data looks great. And I think there's a bit of a conversation around a few players who look great for DEFCON in defence as well. And just wondering how transferable they are. But Stephen, data looks good. 5.5 if you want DEFCON. The issue is when you've got someone like Pascal Gross at the same price, I just find it difficult to pick a DEFCON mid instead of Gross.
I suppose it's the two like FPL philosophies that everyone is kind of battling between right now, which is you have one higher expected goals involvement player like Gross with penalties, more chances created, etc. And then you have the darker side of things, which is the DEFCON players that we all don't want to own them, but they are the players that we've seen how good they can be for points over the course of the season. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think when you put it in terms of a long-term asset, it is the DEFCON players that you're gonna be wanting in your team. But ultimately, FPL football in general is all about form and streaks of form. I would not be surprised to see Pascal Gross outscore all the DEFCON midfielders at the same price over a stretch of games, but maybe not over the course of a season.
Yeah, I think that's quite an interesting point when we go on to talk about chip strategy is around when you're planning on wildcarding. Because if you are looking at that early wildcard, I do think the DEFCON appeal is slightly less important if you're going to wildcard in either game week 4 or game week 6. Because if you're looking just over a couple of games and if they're going to score 12 points over 4 games or 10 points, then I feel like it's easier to beat that with an attacking return from a player at a similar price. Whereas if you're looking over 10 weeks, you don't have to commit transfers and they're just going to tick along. And that DEFCON defender probably won't get an attacking return in a 4-week period, but over a 10-week period, you're more likely to find that spike in one of those weeks. So yeah, I agree. I think initially I'm going to start with some of the attackers, slightly better goal threat. And then once we get to wildcard, I'll look more at DEFCON. A player, Tom, Solis, Arsenal new signing. We should also say that Bruno Guimaraes sounds like he is going to be on his way to Arsenal as well. So there's lots going on at Arsenal. We've got players still to come back from the World Cup. Eze, Rice, Saka, Madueke. Which of them are going to be ready for the start of the season? Odegaard, Solis. There's Martinelli. There's no Trossard there now. Any appeal for you at 6.5?
Yeah, it's one for the watch list. I mean, yeah, ironically, one for the watch list, but he's got a goal and an assist in his 2 friendlies so far, which is pretty good. So he's trusted from the get go. Obviously, Martinelli was at the World Cup, right?
He was. Sorry,
he was. Yeah, and Eze is obviously going to be back pretty late after going to the final weekend with England. So I'd be pretty confident he will start on the left in game week 1, which of course for Coventry at home, it would be a good bet in a 1 week sort of scenario. If you happen to be planning a wildcard 2 or 3, it may be something to look at if you want to be a bit different. But yeah, I guess longer term we'll have to see how he competes with Eze and Martinelli.
Yeah, I just still look back and think that Trossard sale is just a really bizarre one. I feel like Arteta relied so much on him in big moments, and they now have 3 players who I either knew or Arteta historically hasn't trusted in that role in Eze, Martinelli, and now Solis. So it'll be interesting to see, how it settles down. How it settles down a little bit.
And Guimaraes, do you guys think he could be an FPL bet at 7 if Rice drops deep and he's maybe playing ahead of Declan Rice?
Does that mean that Lewis Skelly's not going to start anymore?
Well,
like, are we just suddenly gone from?
I guess.
Like, this is what I mean. We've gone from last year. Suddenly, Lewis Skelly was playing every game because they liked him and they could rely on him. To now, he's not going to play anymore. It's just too much going on in that.
Yeah.
And like Havertz again,
difficult.
Havertz could be in the 10 with Odegaard, and suddenly there's no room for either of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tricky one to figure out. I think what that Arsenal midfield would look like. Zubimendi and Rice were basically played every single game in the Prem last season. You would expect Bruno Guimaraes has been told, and we'd all expect him to play every single game for Arsenal, the quality of player that he is. It's just what that Arsenal team is going to look like. I think we'll have to see in terms of where his FPL points are going to come from.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Cool. So before we dive in and talk about chip strategy, thank you to all of you. We've got almost 1,000 of you from last week who joined our mini league. We will put the league code up on screen. I will also drop it in the chat. The code is T6PFPN. T6PFPN. I will leave the link in the description in the chat as well. If you want to make sure you're in that, that is a FPL watch list viewer specific mini league. So make sure you are joining that ahead of the new season. And thank you to everyone who is already in that league. So let's talk chip strategy. Stephen, you were big on Coventry defence last week. You finally got your quadruple and instantly took them out again, but you are still looking at an early bench boost, right?
Yeah, I may have bottled the quadruple Coventry meta play, but I haven't bottled the bench boost in game week 2. In general, I'm of the opinion that I am playing an early bench boost, whether it's game week 1 or game week 2. The reason I am really, interested in this approach is because of the goalkeeper dilemma. I've always been FPL player that I want to invest as little money as possible into my goalkeeper. Last season was slightly different. I should preface Raya was such a mainstay in my team because of his consistent minutes and spot in that Arsenal team. But in general, I've always been a 4.5 million goalkeeper and a 4 million goalkeeper type of player.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a 4.5 million goalkeeper in 4.5 million keepers in my team for as long as I can. And essentially, I'm planning on starting off the season with 2 4.5 keepers. And then after the bench boost, either game week 1 or 2, I can get rid of them and invest that 0.5 mil, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it always is a lot at the end of the day in FPL.
Yeah, so I did a poll. This is just some data. Apologies, my graphics, they are a little bit hard to read on the green background, but over 50% of people are now looking to either bench boost in game week 1 or game week 2. Game week 2 slightly more popular, about 35% with 15% in game week 1 at the moment. It definitely is gaining insight and the chance of it being played. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. The goalkeepers, it allows you to, if you're playing in game week 1, it's the only week in the entire season where you can effectively wildcard and bench boost in the same week because you've got unlimited transfers. Plus, if you want to play that wildcard, once you've played it, you're playing it for 30 weeks, right? Because we won't play the next one for quite a long period of time. It allows you to set it up without having to worry about those players on the bench. And there are good fixtures, as you say, like you looking at Coventry in game week 2 at home to Hull. There are definite ways in game week 1 and 2 that you can play that bench boost to have enough good cheap players on it. So you can understand why it's popular. You definitely can. And I think these numbers will go up between now and the deadline. Tom, where are you at with it?
I've come around to an early bench boost for a few reasons. One reason being that there's so much up in the air. I will shout out Planet FPL as is customary. Listening to James on Monday, I think he made the point that only 5 teams we can be sure we can kind of know what we're getting from them. I think that's Sunderland, Leeds, Brentford, and 2 more. We've obviously got 9 new managers. We've got teams in Europe that haven't been in Europe before. We've got obviously Man United's new, have kind of got a new manager, permanent manager. So you can basically call it 10 new managers. So there's a lot to learn, which kind of pushes you towards an early wild card. There's a few fixture swings that if you want to take advantage of, like Sunderland, like Man United, and kind of Chelsea, that kind of necessitate chips early on if you load up on teams like that. And then the other kind of reason is I always kind of wildcard early anyway, so why not actually try and maximize it. So yeah, bench boost 1v2 is tough. I think there's arguments for each one, which we can get into, or I can go now if you.
Yeah, so I think the bench boost, I think people understand the benefit of the early bench boost. It then comes down to the knock-on impact it has on other chips, particularly the wild card. Surprised to see that actually less people are planning on playing the wild card early compared to the bench boost, but I see most people who I see planning the early bench boost are also planning to wild card at some point between game week 3 and game week 7. So it has a big knock-on impact on that, plus the free hit if you want to play it in either game week 3 or 4 because of the squad you're building. So I think that's what's slightly stopping me a little bit, that I'm not 100% locked in on it, is the fact that it will force the wild card to be played early. But I think a lot of people will do it. And I think over the past couple of years, people who have planned for the early wildcard have then done better in the first few weeks. And then a lot of us have just wildcarded early anyway, but not taken advantage enough of the first few weeks. Like I remember wildcarding game week 6 last year, and actually game week 4 was the best week to wildcard in the first half of the season. So bringing it early, all I did was just not maximize the first few weeks enough. So actually, if you plan to wildcard in one of those weeks, you take advantage of the first 3 more with teams like Sunderland, like Manchester United, like you said. Stephen, you're very wed on the bench boost. Where does that leave you with the wildcard?
Yeah, I have sort of accepted the fact that I will be wildcarding early with this strategy, and that's something I sort of made my bed with. I think the decision is made a lot easier because of the international break.
Yeah.
I love wildcarding, right after the international break. You get that initial start of the season where you can collect data on the players. There's so many new managers. There's a lot of new players in the Premier League this year. We're going to have to figure out how those teams are lining up and how those players are settling in and performing in their teams. So I think that an early wildcard just makes sense with this strategy because we'll have that little bit of data and information from the first few game weeks. We'll get an international break to make those drafts and then, kind of set your team in for the foreseeable, I guess, up until the second half of the season.
Yeah, I like the game week 4 bench boost from a fixture point of view. It works quite well with swings and jumping on and off players, but I don't like it 2 weeks before the first huge international break. That game week 6 after game week 5, purely from a timing point of view, 5 weeks worth of data, big international break. International teams will play 3 times over that break. There will be injuries in it. It feels like from purely a fixture point of view, game week 4 is better, but from a timing point of view, game week 6 is better. Tom,
The flip,
when you're looking
yeah.
at yours,
I'm just gonna say the
go
flip
on.
side of that is you may well have 4 free transfers in game week 6 if you wildcard 4 and get lucky enough to roll. So you may
Yeah,
have
so you can make
have some
transfers there,
cover.
but
Yeah.
it works the same, I suppose, the other way around, right? Is going into game week 4, you'll have 3 transfers which you can use then, and then wildcard in 6 if you wanted to.
Yeah. So yeah, it's tricky because there's also some players like Calafiori and Foden who people might be tempted into that. I guess that leans itself towards an early wildcard maybe as well. You can pick a few more punty players. You can go Calafiori over Mosquera, knowing that it's just for a couple of weeks before the Champions League starts. Something I'd be keen to do, I think.
Yeah, are you looking, if you go for the early bench boost, have you looked at 4 or 6? Or 3?
Yeah, I don't think it would be 3. I think 3 is a bit... 3 is tough
Yeah.
because obviously Arsenal play Chelsea and... you're kind of 1 week... Like Sunderland and Man United have still got good fixtures, so... You're kind of missing out on that final week of the game week 1 draft, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 or 6, like you say, ideally you'd save it till 6, but it might just be a case that you can really maximize game week 1 by taking the fixtures from game week 1 to 3, and then of course in game week 4, like there's a whole Palmer thing. Like you can obviously do one move Bruno to Palmer if you wish. You don't want a wild card. You just want to get some Chelsea. I personally think it may be that João Pedro is just a better pick as it stands. I mean, we'll have to see. Obviously, in any one game, Palmer can get a hat-trick. Even last year, he still got a hat-trick against Wolves. Another rubbish team that plays in orange, maybe. Little sign there. But I don't know. Like, I think you may be able to get through game week 4 with by not wildcarding. But then you'd still have a few Man United and maybe a few Sunderland. So yeah, you have to think more and balance it more if you want to go till 6. I mean, are there any sacrifices you're thinking of making by trying to go to 6? Is it like 2 Man United instead of 3 or?
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build to 6, but I'm also trying to build a squad that doesn't feel much worse than the game week 4 wildcard teams, effectively. So the differences are slightly less Sunderland, slightly less Man United, slightly more Leeds, slightly more Liverpool, right? Because in 4 and 5, Manchester United have City and then Fulham is fine, but City's first. And then you've got Sunderland who have got Arsenal and City. Whereas in those weeks, Leeds has got Newcastle and Palace both at home, and Liverpool have Fulham at home, Bournemouth away. So, for example, going with Calvert-Lewin over Brobby, going with Ampadu, going with Maremovic in defence. These small switches, going with Wirtz over Mbermo, has the ability to carry you a little bit further without feeling like it sacrifices the first 3 weeks too much, because I still think that Liverpool and Leeds at the moment have a pretty good opening start to the season. When I look at the fixtures, the thing that's getting me at the moment is when I look at the fixtures in 4 and 5, I don't feel like there's something in there that I'm missing to wildcard in 4. Maybe it's more to jump off players that you've got that fall low down the fixture ticker. And again, I'm using the completely free to use Fantasy Football Scout fixture ticker, which is an absolute lifesaver at the moment during pre-season. Like top of the fixture ticker is Newcastle. I have not seen a single thing in pre-season to make me want to wildcard to buy a Newcastle player. Next up is Palace. That will be just as they start Europe. They've got a new manager. They've got no Lacroix. They've got no Mark Gay. Ismail Assar might also be leaving. Next up is Chelsea. Great. That's why I want João Pedro in there. Everton away at Spurs, home to Ipswich is fine. I could go with an Illiman and Die. Arsenal next, absolutely. But outside of that, the other teams like City, United, I'm not wildcarding into. Bournemouth, it's still difficult. You've got Brighton, I've got Arsenal as one of those. I don't look in 4 and 5 and feel like I'm missing something, which is why I'm currently looking at 6. Sorry, that was a lot of me
No, it makes
talking.
sense,
Um,
but
For
then
sure, yeah.
like I mean, how many transfers would you kind of be prepared to use around game week
yeah,
4?
it's the Bruno to Palmer switch in 4,
Mm.
and being able to take that for Hull at home, Brentford away, when Bruno has City at home, Fulham away. I mean, Palmer's not even in the Chelsea squad today. We might get to game week 4, and then you don't need Palmer. And if you don't need Palmer in 4, then I really question the game week 4 wildcard.
You could do like a Burma to Rogers or something.
I was just going to
Yeah,
say that. I think, yeah, I think holding on to Bruno or even two of your three Man United assets for their home game against City isn't the end of the world. But something like Mbumo to Rodgers, if he's playing consistently, that kind of, I think that move writes itself.
yeah.
What about the kind of the other strategy of using free hit and then wildcard? Like a few people doing what is that? Bench boost 1, free hit 4, wildcard 6.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I just slightly conscious of using so many chips early on. Because if we do get, I know the chances are still slim, but let's say we do get a double and a blank, right? Let's say a fixture was to get postponed for whatever reason and it fell in the first half of the season. Having triple captain and free hit still to play in the double and the blank feels like a good place to be in. So I don't mind the free hit 4, but I'm just a little bit conscious of playing too much early doors. Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a chip spree at that point for me, honestly. I think I'll avoid using my chips until I absolutely have to. Otherwise, there's like an obvious strategy, which in this case for me is the early bench boost. But I don't think the free hit falls into that realm of, either it being an obvious strategy or my team really needing it.
Yeah. I like, because I look at my team in 3 and 4 and I don't feel like I need to free hit it. Yeah, like, would I go for an extra Chelsea in 4? Would I go triple Arsenal? Yeah, but there are other weeks where I'm sure, like when Arsenal play City further down the line,
Mm.
that also is just quite a nice time to play it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll use 3 early on. It's possible that there's people out there who want to play the free hit to save the wild card. That's also possible. Like you could free hit 4 and just delay the wild card, but that can also work. I'm just not sure I want to use. I mean, there will be people who bench boost 1, triple captain 3, free hit 4, wildcard 6. Like you can do it like that. There's no issue
Mm.
with that as a strategy.
Yeah, I mean the free hit 4 does look pretty good. You've got Palace at home to Ipswich, Liverpool at home to Fulham, Chelsea at home to Hull, and Villa at home to Forest. So you can get players like Watkins, Mateta, Isak, Palmer that you probably don't have at the start. But
Yeah,
then you do then have to sell Haaland, which not everyone would do, I suppose. But
yeah. Like you're
Mm.
committing to no Bruno and no Haaland on that free hit.
Yeah.
and one of them usually does something in the derby. To be fair,
Well, this is it.
Exactly.
I look at taking out Palmer and I'm like, I'm going to need to see something from Palmer to make that a decision. Because
Hmm.
at the moment, I'd take Bruno at home to City over Palmer at the moment.
yeah. What about the triple captain then? That's in your graph. 13% of people playing it in game week 3. I'm assuming
Yeah,
that's Haaland against Coventry.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously Haaland plays Ipswich in game week 7 and Hull in game week 16. So he's got all 3 promoted at home. Bruno's got
yeah.
Hull and Ipswich to start the season. Stephen, you must be slightly tempted with a little bit of Bruno. Triple
I mean, there's
early
there's
doors.
always that there's always that temptation, but I think I'll have to wait for that man Erling Haaland to play Hull. I think Hull will have a difficult season, and yeah, I see no reason to look elsewhere.
Yeah, I think I'll play it a bit by ear. If Haaland comes out of the traps flying in game week 1 or game week 2, I think it'll be difficult to not do it in 3 because just how
Hmm.
we know how well he starts. But if he doesn't, and maybe he starts slower with less of a pre-season, then I'm happy to save it. So I'm pretty flexible with it. Um, yeah, yeah, in any of those three, to be honest.
So if he scores
Yeah.
back-to-back hat tricks, you're gonna back him to be the first player to score 3 consecutive.
3 hat tricks in a row.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. Maybe we shouldn't do it
I mean,
because he.
that's
Yeah.
the beauty
Doesn't
of
he
the
always
triple
brace in
captain.
game week 1? Just get it out of the way.
No, this
Go
year
for it.
that's Bruno.
Captaincy is interesting. I feel like no one's really covered it because it's quite a long time away. But the other thing that came out of this was Haaland's about 75% captain still, with Bruno being 25%, which means Bruno's ownership, his effective ownership, will still be below 100, whereas Haaland will be about 150. So
Only
I mean,
one
we
of
can talk
them's in
about captaincy.
training right now.
Well, exactly. If Haaland isn't in training this week, I think it will swing again.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it on Bruno since the game came out. Yeah, I think Man United are only getting better. Bruno was the best player in the league last year, and Hull are, set to be, they're probably the worst team coming up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Haaland, you cannot ignore the fact that Haaland starts so strong every single year. Bournemouth at home, new manager, we'll see how they get on. But I just think Bruno against a promoted side, I know it's away, but I still fancy him there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
We should
Yeah.
probably just cover off what about why not save the bench boost to kind of game week 7? I guess there's still half the people in your poll. How are you looking to save it? Maybe play it after game week 6. Game week 7 looks pretty good on paper. You've got
As you say, there's a lot of uncertainty in the league, right?
yeah.
We don't know how these players are going to perform. A lot of us are using Brighton, who play suddenly twice a week, either side of game week 1. There is a lot of uncertainty in the league, and if you delay it, you're going to have more certainty. You might get a 4 million goalkeeper. These things might happen. It might fall into place better where you've got a 4 million defender who's not from one of the newly promoted teams starting. You might get to a point where it looks better. And to be honest, ideally, you probably will find a better bench boost if you save it. But I don't want to, when I wildcard, as Stephen said earlier, I don't want a 4.5 goalkeeper. I don't want to be worrying about which 4.5 defenders I'm picking for a specific week. I want to pick the ones that are best for my team and I think are the best picks, rather than being shoehorned into picking the ones that fit a specific week.
Yeah.
Is that where you are at with it, Stephen?
Yeah, no, exactly the same. Exactly the same. I think, yeah, it does come down to that goalkeeper decision for me. I know it's kind of crazy to make the chip strategy around a 4.5 million goalkeeper, but I just don't want to have that money eaten up on my bench.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree.
As the chat
Someone
points
did
out as
just-
well, it's pre-Champions League, so you may be a bit more sure of minutes early on.
Yeah. You're playing once a week. You don't have to worry about it a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. Someone in the chat, it's just interestingly, Ipswich lineup today. 4.0 goalkeeper in goal.
Okay.
Palmer.
Is that because
I don't know where Walton is.
Walton? I saw something
Or
about him maybe.
Sherpen.
Oh, Sherpen will be their number 1, right? They just bought him for big money the other day, I think.
You'd think so. Update
Well, I
on the
suppose the
City
question-
game, it's 3-1.
Let's say we get to game week 1 and Sherpen's not ready and Palmer is going to play game week 1 at home to Sunderland. Suddenly, you don't even have to invest that money in your bench to
That
get the
makes
bench
game week
boost.
1 bench boosts.
Yeah, like we're still
Automatic.
2 weeks away. So if they have signed other goalkeepers, so chances are it won't be. But it's just something to keep an eye on when their new goalkeepers are ready.
Yeah.
Because if we have a 4.0 goalkeeper at home to Sunderland in game week 1, I mean that helps that conversation a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something to
update on the
watch.
City game. Aitner is playing left wing and has scored. So I can't imagine that would be the lineup every single game, but also Tiani Reinders with a goal.
Love
Always
Off
an
to
early
Nottingham
season
Forest.
FPL pick. Season 3, here we go.
Nori playing left wing just screams that Gvardiol's even more nailed, because it seems to me it's just like what happened with Chilwell when he was when Maresca came to Chelsea. He kind of said he's not my type of fullback and put him on the wing for a bit and then sold him.
Is that where he's
Yeah.
playing?
Aitner is on the wing. Gvardiol's left back.
Oh, is he?
Mm.
Gvardiol left back, Diaz, Krishnov, Lewis right back.
Mm-hmm.
But is that not concerning for Gvardiol?
I did think that when I saw it at the start. Where does Guehi come into this lineup? You know, like
But I got O'Reilly to fit into it as well.
O'Reilly. He could be where Kovacic is as well. But you have Rodri. They are signing that new lad as well. What's his name? Boadi. Boadi.
I think
you've,
Gvardiol.
But the
I
thing with
think
that
Gvardiol though, but he can play the O'Reilly position as well, can't he?
Mm-hmm.
And then when
Yeah.
O'Reilly's back, he can move into centre back.
He's one of the 3 central pillars, guys. Come on.
But all right, let me play devil's advocate for this though. If you've got a central pillar, surely they play their position whenever they're available.
Harry, it's pre-season.
Mm.
Come on. I'm
so
also
what's he
watching
doing at left
João
back?
Pedro play behind Danny Welbeck at the moment.
But this is what I mean. Like, what's Gvardiol? If he's a central pillar, what's he doing at left back? That's no central pillar.
Hey, Diaz has to be given some minutes. Come on.
So does Kushtanov.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what's Rico Lewis doing then?
Yeah.
He's not a central pillar either.
Yeah, we'll see. It's
Who
all
knows
on
with that
Community
City
Shield.
lineup?
All on
Yeah,
Community
I
Shield.
cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Nikolai said in the chat, Gvardiol will be first choice. He's their best centre back by a country mile.
Yeah, I agree with
Here,
that. I
here.
think he's brilliant.
I think
I don't agree
there's
with
no
that.
one. He's the perfect left back that can tuck in while O'Reilly bombs on.
That's true, but
He
it
just
just doesn't
is,
mean he's
like-
going to play every week.
Yeah, but we're talking about an early wild card. Like,
So that means that one of Mark Gay or Diaz is just that's it.
what?
Binned.
How old's Ruben Diaz? What did the
Oh,
kids
he's
say?
old.
Question right there.
Washed.
You're the kid here, Tom.
He's 29. He's in
He's
his
29,
prime.
so
Yeah, but
he's
it's a
not.
like I just can't. I don't know. Do you really think that he's going to be on the bench?
Do I think
Gvardiol will be benched.
no? But I don't think it's like categorical that Gvardiol's going to start all of the first 5 games.
I think the season that Pep did play the 4 at the back with Gvardiol left back was Gvardiol's best season, I think, in terms of an attacking output, let's say. If you wanted to fit, this City side into a 4 at the back, I wouldn't be surprised to see Gvardiol get the nod over Nico O'Reilly. At
Yeah,
left
no,
back, that
Riley's
is.
coming back, but if anyone's going to be sort of eased in, it would be him.
Mhm.
I'm not saying he's not going to start the first couple of games. That's not what my issue is. But
Yeah.
once everyone's up to speed,
Let's see.
O'Reilly needs to get up to speed and Mark Gay needs to get up to speed. Oh, game week 3, Coventry at home. That's a great opportunity to do it. Let's give Gvardiol a rest just before Champions League starts. No, I like him as a pick, but I do think it's something just to keep an eye on.
For sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Cool. I think we've got a couple of players to quickly chat through.
Yeah,
as
just
well,
one,
Tom.
just João Pedro.
Mhm.
I mean, he's in the number 10 today.
So that's how it's looking, is it? I haven't seen the Chelsea
Yeah,
lineup
Danny
yet.
Welbeck up front, no Palmer. I'm not sure I'd read particularly much into it.
Yeah, I would ignore the hysteria around that, to be quite honest. And if he takes a penalty in the next sort of half an hour, I would also ignore that hysteria.
Who, Welbeck?
Well, it could be
No.
I don't know, João Pedro, Welbeck. Could
They'd
be
give
either,
it to
I suppose.
Welbeck to get his first Chelsea goal, wouldn't they?
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe.
Unless Mudryk is on the pitch, and then they'll almost certainly give it to him.
What a guy. But yeah, let's talk about João Pedro because he's over 50% owned. He's, according to most people, far too cheap. This week he's kind of fallen out of people's teams. It's an easy cash cow on a bench boost to drop it down to a Calvert-Lewin or someone, free up 1.5 million and then improve your bench. People kind of using the Arsenal fixture as a little bit of maybe some copium into not having one of the best forwards in the league. But what do you guys think? Is he is he going to fall down in ownership? Are you trying to cram him in despite a bench boost, or are you happy to wait until Hull?
I think that because I think people who are making big decisions in their FPL team, like João Pedro or no João Pedro, because of a bench boost, which in my eyes is the weakest chip in the game, I don't think that's the way we should be approaching the decisions here. Bench boost, sorry, is for, it's for those fringe players that we don't want to spend too much money on. We'll throw them on the bench. We want to make sure they're playing. If we had 2 points from all of our players on a bench boost, that to me is pretty good planning. I wouldn't be making significant changes to my team, like a huge decision of whether you have João Pedro or not, because of the bench boost. Because if he starts to rise in price up to the price that he should have been listed at, let's say, then you'll be in trouble.
Yeah, for me, it does come down a little bit to that wildcard conversation we've had. Because if you're set on a game week 4 wildcard, I can understand it to some extent. But unless you're in that very specific scenario where you're 100% certain you're going to wildcard before Hull, then I would want him in.
If you were in that scenario, who would your forwards likely be?
Haaland, Calvert-Lewin, and maybe Brobby if I needed the money. If not, I would still go Haaland, one of those two, João Pedro. I suppose it depends a little bit on when you were wildcarding, when you were bench boosting, because you could have a look at like Wright, for example, if you were bench boosting too, but probably those three.
Yeah, that's part of my struggle. I'm struggling to build a bench boost team with him and Mbumo, who I really like.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take either of them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Those are
Just,
two players I wouldn't. They're in my draft. I really don't want to compromise on either of them.
is there any concern for you about Mbumo's minutes? That's why he's not in my draft. Not that I don't think he's going to start, but like they just have so many players.
I think that there has to be some concerns. Like you said, there's a lot of options in that forward line from Man United, especially with Marcus Rashford coming back. You'd expect him to get some minutes in that side. For me, Mbumo is the one that I just see him getting the most minutes out of those forwards outside of Bruno. That's how I see it. I think that's not me saying I think he'll play 90 minutes every single week, but I'm willing to take Mbumo for the 70, 80 minutes I expect him to get with those opening fixtures.
Do you expect him, because Sesko's a doubt, isn't he? He's still not in pre-season, if I'm right. So you think Mbumo will probably start up front for the first couple with Sesko off the bench?
I think
Like he did at
Sesko
the
is
end of last
training.
season, yeah.
Okay.
Is he, yeah?
He hasn't got any match time, but you would then think that he can't play 90, so you'd think you might get a bit of Mbumo striker towards the end of a game.
Yeah. I mean, it might be Mbumo from the start and then he takes him off, but then maybe Mbumo goes out to the right wing and Ahmad comes off. So I agree Mbumo is probably the safest now. I quite like Cunha, but I think if I was going one, I would go Mbumo.
Like you said, he's the safest, but doesn't mean he's getting 90 minutes every week. We don't know that.
Cool.
Yeah. Should we have a look at some drafts? I'm happy to go first. I feel like mine is... So effectively, my current draft isn't planning on the bench boost early because I haven't been able to build a team that I really like for that bench boost. But I think that early bench boost is the best strategy. So I am trying to find a draft that does allow me to play that chip early, if that makes sense. So I've got Kinski. I like Vuskovic. Slight doubt over him with Brighton's Europe and whether he's definitely going to start. I've got Gvardiol at the moment, Mosquera, Canvo, again, just good for rotation with Vuskovic and Thomas, Bruno, Szoboszlai, Lafitte. I've got Cunha, but I probably would go in Burmo now. Haaland, João Pedro, Calvert-Lewin, Dubravka and Hughes. So this doesn't plan on that early bench boost, but I think I would have to find some money maybe from the likes of Vuskovic, maybe the likes of Canvo, maybe Cunha. Cunha to Wirtz to free up that 0.5 instead of going in Burmo can be quite useful. We haven't spoken loads about Wirtz.
No, I think that's something to consider, especially the fact that, we're hearing he'll be in the 10. Where does that put Szoboszlai?
Not right back at the moment.
He's
Yeah,
a
I
right
think
back,
there
but
is a
he's on pens.
conversation. Yeah, I think there's a conversation to be had about Szoboszlai, Wirtz, and Liverpool in general.
If they were the same price, would you pick Verts?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think I probably would.
I'm gonna go slightly over the top on Soboslai just for kind of the debate, but like, I just don't really get why you'd pick him. Like last year, we didn't really rate him much. I don't think you owned him
Hmm.
at all. We were kind of him and Rice. We were kind of saying not really worth it. His DEFCON will be pretty reduced if he's not playing right back. He's not going to be on penalties predominantly unless he takes one over Isak. If he does, then of course this changes. And Verts has taken a few corners in training, so I just don't really understand what we're kind of expecting. And then you have got the likes of Endai, who I realise I don't actually think is that good either. But like you've got cheaper players like Lefay who do have some penalties, maybe Cliver or Tavernier. And, Liverpool have looked a little bit shaky in pre-season. They definitely need some signings. I guess there's also a slight chance he could play right wing if they don't sign anyone for the first couple of games. But
That's better than right back.
it is. But I don't know. Like I'm not seeing too much for 7 million.
I think I understand it. I think it's a fair argument. I don't know what you think, Stephen.
Yeah, I do think it's fair. I think the point you make of, the Szoboszlai of last year, we didn't really pick him much last year. I know he was kind of in and out of people's teams, not so much our teams. I think it's the idea that I expected him to kind of play in that 10 role for Liverpool at the start of this season. It's looking like he won't be playing in that role. And again, with all the top teams, the question becomes where did all these, really, really good players fit into the starting 11s? I think Szoboszlai is the type of player that he will find his way into that. He will start in the team. It's just about if he's not playing in the 10, I'm not as interested.
Yeah. Very, very highly owned, difficult one to go against his price, but
Yeah, he's 46% owned because he scored a screamer
Mm.
against in pre-season. It's crazy.
yeah. I think when you look at the prices early on, I'm no surprised that he's so highly owned. Um, just feels very talismanic. I think the point that I just don't think he's on pens is probably fair. I think Isak will take them. Now, Isak probably won't play 90,
Hmm.
but he's just a bit deeper, some set pieces. It feels like I'm picking Pascal Gross, basically.
But you're paying an
And
awful lot more.
Well,
you
that's
are,
the
yeah.
point. I'm paying,
Like,
what's
why
that, a
wouldn't you
million?
pick Elliot Anderson, for example?
Well,
If he starts the Community Shield, I think he's better than Soboslai.
If anything, I'd try to upgrade him to Verts, I think is what I would do.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering about the double up. I don't mind the Szoboszlai pick. Again, the first five are just pretty good for Liverpool. That he'll just be involved. Someone in the chat saying Verts won't play 90, so Szoboszlai will play some of the games in the 10. Again, like that's possible, but until we see it, it's pretty difficult to know. And it's all well and good saying, well, I'll go up to someone else, but I've got to free up that money, right? So the most easy thing to do is to go down from him. In which case, is he a better pick than Die for the first few?
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
I mean, you could go Soboslai to Endai, Cunha to Verts, and suddenly you've got 1.5 million to sort out a bench boost to get Gross and
Yeah.
Verbruggen.
Interested to hear about your current bench, Harry, especially the Crystal Palace assets. I understand you said something about the rotation there, but tell me more about these picks.
Yeah, so I was just trying to find. I felt like I didn't have enough DEFCON in my team. So I ended up on Canvo because he rotates pretty well with the rest of my defense in the weeks that I need it, particularly game weeks 3 to like 6, he has pretty good fixtures. I do worry a little bit about Palace with a new manager, No Lacroix there now, that he's the best one. I might end up on Muremovic at 5 million as well. Someone like Maguire could go in. So that spot is sort of depending on what I do with the rest of my defense to plug the weeks that I might need a defender. And
Mhm.
Canvo just fit well, but slightly worried about Palace, I think.
Fair, fair. Yeah, I'm quite worried about them as well.
And I'm also just not certain that Vuskovic is going to be nailed to start the season.
Yeah, they got quite a few centre backs, don't they?
Could easily be Pascal Struijk and Dunk game week 1.
Yeah, they've also got Boss. They got one that begins with B as well, don't they? They have got Boss Cagley.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, maybe it's not worth it.
Just go
Cool,
Vifa.
but that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, Szoboszlai is causing a bit of a debate.
Yeah.
So's Enzo Lafitte, to be honest. I'm not sure how much I love that as a pick, but
It's a bit of a game
yeah,
week 4 wildcard pick.
yeah. But then if I need a longer one, who am I picking?
And Die, I guess.
Yeah, it plays like United in 3 though, but like, yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's a structure forming, but the individuals I'm not certain on.
Hmm.
Lovely stuff. Before we go on, I'll just shout out you can get your team rated for free on the Fantasy Football Scout website using the link in the description, and it's pinned in the chat as well. That's completely free. Just make a free account and get your team rating, and then unlock some recommended transfers if you wish. You can also join Scout for our cheapest preseason price. You can save 70 quid by going annual compared to monthly by scanning the QR code that is in the right hand corner of the screen and has been all stream. And if you're listening on the podcast, that's also in the description. But yeah, we can go through to Steven's team now.
Yeah.
This is a bench boost. Which
This
bench
is a
boost
bench
is this?
boost two. Yeah.
2, yeah.
Bench boost two with this team. Similar defense. I think it's quite a template defense to be fair, with Kinski and Nets. Yeah, Gvardiol, Mosquera. I've got Luke Shaw in there. He's one of my triple Man United that I'm quite bullish on to start the season. Bruno Fernandes and then Mbumo as well. Midfield of Soboslai and Shada, who has made his way into my team. That's a new addition. Up front hasn't changed with Haaland, João Pedro, and Calvert-Lewin. And then the bench, like I mentioned earlier, I may or may not have bottled the quadruple Coventry, but it is what it is. Yeah, I've got it's maybe a different team that's
I've
showing up
just
here. I
changed
still
it.
have
I've just changed it.
yeah.
Hang on. Sorry.
I've actually got yeah, Rushworth, Ampadu, Van Newick, and Thomas. So it is still triple Coventry that I've gone for in the
That's a
in the
tasty
bench
bench
boost
boost.
game week 2.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it's quite a nice bench boost. I like the look of it. Ampadu is in there as my sort of DEFCON pick. He plays Brentford at home in game week 2. Obviously, we know Coventry have Hull at home in game week 2 as well. Yeah, quite like the look of how this team. I think I'm getting there. I am getting there. Although I did start toying with the idea of a 3-5-2 potentially. Um, uh, the issue there is just, I basically have a non-playing forward, whereas with a 3-4-3, you sort of have a midfielder that is benched but can play. So yeah, I'm starting to get there, guys. I feel like I'm slowly settling on this team. It's just about figuring out those few fringe players, like could Shada be Ndai? Could Ampadu be Gross? These kind of decisions that I'm starting to think about.
When
Yeah, I
McBurney
mean you can go.
scores, you're not coming to the stream after the week after.
Oh no, I'm taking the week
Triple
off.
clean sheet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is very reliant on a Coventry clean sheet, right? I mean,
It's
you'll
all
be
or
aware of.
nothing. It is
Yeah,
all or nothing on that Coventry clean sheet. I mean, I have been, back and forth over that quite a bit, but I think because the bench boost for me is such a I don't want to say pointless, but it's not a high value chip. It's not a chip that's going to make or break the season. I want to take that huge risk on it because if they all just end up getting 2 pointers, so be it. But if they all get a clean sheet, it's massive for me, and it's almost a season-defining game week for me.
Yeah, someone in the chat just said you could even go Petrovic if you didn't want to quite load up as much. He's got Everton at
Mhm.
home in game week 2.
Leno
But
as well, I was thinking about who rotates quite well with Kinski over the long term.
yeah. Um, yeah, I like it. Sharda is an interesting one.
Hmm.
Um, I like his data. They've of course signed Anthony.
Yep.
Um, Locked with him, or is that quite open that spot?
Um, it is open. It is open. I like him as a pick. The opening fixtures, the fixture he has in game week 2 as well. I think in general, Brentford will have a good season. They finished just outside that European spot, and they've, you know, I think they're going to have another good season, and I expect Shada to be involved in that. It's just whether he becomes Ndai, whether, I make some other changes between him and Ampadu. That's really the decision I'm trying to make. But I do like Shada's data
Yeah,
at his price.
fair enough. Tom,
Do
final
you?
one?
So I was just going to ask Stephen, do
Oh,
you
sorry, go on.
worry this locks you into like game week 3 or 4 wild card? Because in game week 3, you're going to have to play. I guess you have to play João Pedro. And
Yeah, so
who
game
do
week
Coventry play in game week
three,
3? Oh, Man City. Yeah. So
Coventry plays City. Yeah, game week 3, it probably means I could technically bench João Pedro and start Ampadu against Brighton away, which is something I'm not against entirely, but it's not ideal. I think I'll get away with it though.
fair. Yeah. And still got that captain on Bruno. Love
Still
it.
got that captain on Bruno. Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Nice.
Very nice.
Right. Yeah. So this is my team. This, to be honest, this team is not the best. I'll be honest. I'm slightly. I'll read it out
What
for
did you
those in the
say at the
podcast.
start? You said you're a bit all over the place.
I am a bit all over the place this week. But so for the podcast, this is a bench boost 2 team that has Kinski, Maguire, Gavardio, Calafiori, Enzo Lefebvre, Brian Mbumo, Moises Caicedo, Bruno Fernandes, Haaland, João Pedro, Calvert-Lewin, with a bench of Rushworth, Tavernier, Rodon, and Bobby Thomas.
Mhm.
So the game week 2 bench boost would be Rushworth at home to Hull, Thomas at home to Hull, Rodon at home to Brentford, and probably Caicedo at home to Brighton. The reason why I think this team doesn't look great is because I basically haven't compromised. I've kept Mbumo, I've kept João Pedro, I've kept Gavardio, I've still got Maguire instead of Shaw. And I've got like kind of a beefed up bet in the sense that Tavernier and Caicedo are quite expensive for your 4th and 5th mids. And I haven't got 2 fours like Steven does.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, you can rip into it if you like. That's not hard to do, but
I disagree. I actually quite like this team. In terms of like the price points you've gone for, like I like how much you've invested in the defense. To be honest, that Shaw and Maguire upgrade is something I'm thinking about a lot. Caicedo, I actually just had to check there that he was 5.5 mil. I actually quite like the pick. It's just the fact that it is a Chelsea slot, and whether you want to take up a Chelsea slot with him or not, I'm not sure that's something you'll be content with over the course of the season, but we do have wild cards to play with. I think the bench is interesting. Like I'd like to hear more about the Tavernier pick, especially. He's 6 mil, isn't he?
yeah. Well, we thought he was on pens, but I think Cliver. It's kind of up in the air as to whether Cliver.
Mhm.
We think Cliver is on pens, but we're not sure if he's going to play. Basically,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair. So it's either him or Clover, is what you're thinking?
yeah. But then a big part of me just says just do a game week 1 bench boost and just get Gross in, free up a bit of money,
Yeah,
change
yeah.
Rushworth, get Diop.
Yeah. So like you could easily change. I mean, again, this is the difference between a game week 1 and a game week 2 bench boost, right? You go Enzo Lafie over Tavernier, you go Gross over Caicedo, you change Rodon, you change Rushworth, and then you go Diop or O'Shea, and it's the same team. It's just which week you want to bench boost. Rodon's one I'm keeping an eye on because Leeds fans are not certain he's nailed, which I was quite surprised at. But 4-5, basically they think if they play a back four, it will be Bijol and Maremovic. But they've played a back five in pre-season, which means it should be Rodon.
And Beale hasn't
There's-
got any preseason minutes yet.
You'll probably end up being fine. There's no Liverpool. I understand that you don't like Szoboszlai that much, but
It's just a case that like I'd rather have Mbumo. So
Yeah.
you know,
that's fine. When this team gets to game week 3 to start with, right?
game week 3 looks a bit ugly. To be honest, I think bench boost 1 just might be better.
Because I mean, game week 3 you've got Caicedo and João Pedro to start off away at Arsenal.
Yeah, Caicedo could be Ampadu, I guess, or the Brentford guy.
Game week 4, you then have both of them, but then you have Mbermo, Maguire, Vardiol, Haaland all playing against each other. Coventry at home to Brighton's all right. Yeah, like it's okay. I mean, I quite like the team, to be honest. Just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, it's just like starting Caicedo in game week 1 feels a bit crazy, but
yeah, like I would rather Ampadu, I think.
I just think I may need to compromise on one player, whether it's Gvardiol, Mbumo, or João Pedro. Like you could get Szoboszlai and free up a million, who I think's a great pick.
Yeah, exactly. You're not allowed to pick him now.
No, I can't. But like, yeah, it's the whole João Pedro question because I could get Brobby in and then just the bench would look better. Caicedo could be. I could literally go Szoboszlai and Brobby or João Pedro and Caicedo.
You're not taking out João Pedro though, are you?
I just can't do that.
That's never happened.
What do we think Mbumo versus? Is that close or? It just feels mad to me not to have triple United for the Hull and Ipswich fixtures.
I'm on the same boat, Tom. I think it is close between those two players, but when you consider those opening fixtures for Man United, that for me, I'm going triple Man United no matter what.
I think it depends a little bit on when you're wildcarding, because I like the 4 and 5 for Verts.
This team feels very wildcard 4, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, then you've got double Chelsea, so it doesn't.
Yeah, but is Caicedo? Are we? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if fixtures matter for Caicedo. Probably arguably make it worse.
No. But I mean, like triple United in there, Ento Lafi, double Coventry. It does feel quite wildcard 4. Just I think wildcard 4, as I said at the beginning, is a really good time to wildcard if it wasn't 2 weeks before the international break. But if you can get past that, I think it's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, that's our teams as it stands. We've got
that's everything.
A few 3 super chats actually, all from the same person.
Fire away.
Thank you very much. So first one, do you prefer Szoboszlai, Maguire, or Verts and Shaw?
Oh, that's a close one, you know.
Can I say a stat that I discovered yesterday, right? So Luke Shaw scored 113 points in 38 starts last year.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire scored 90 points, so 23 less, sorry, in 19 starts, in half the starts.
Wow. Yeah,
what was that? Was that goals?
Bit of goals, bit of DEFCON.
So my thing with Maguire is the departure of Casemiro. I just think surely he's the main goal threat now from set pieces.
Yeah, because he was talking about kind of like, I remember watching an interview with him on Monday Night Football about how he was kind of like being a decoy for Casemiro.
Yeah.
And then he said, I still want to score. So,
but surely now he's the target you'd expect.
Yeah, and his old club in game week 1.
Also, if Lewis Hall joins, you just can't pick Luke Shaw.
Yeah. Luke Shaw's got an average of 6.2 DEFCONs per 90 last season as well, which is not inspiring.
I think the fact that Maguire nearly outscored him playing half the games kind of says it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
I would go Szoboszlai, who I love, and Maguire, I think.
Has Lewis Hall? I mean, I do think there's something in the Lewis Hall bit.
And we're not going to
keep an
know,
eye on
right?
it.
We got 2 weeks between the deadline and transfer window, so
Yeah, but like if you get the first 3 out of Luke Shaw, then people don't really care.
fair. Yeah, that's true.
So maybe it'll be all right. But I think I think I'd go Maguire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second one is Lamens and Xhaka or Kinski and a 6 million mid for bench boost 2 and wildcard 4.
Lamon Xhaka or Kinski, 6 million. I don't really understand why you'd pick Kinski, if I'm honest.
You'd go Lefay, right?
Not Kinski.
Sorry.
Lamons.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just double defense against 2 promoted teams.
Yeah.
But then Maguire's better than Lamons and Shaw is cheaper than Lamons.
I would only pick Lamens if it was a double up. But
Yeah, he's below the other two for me,
agreed,
though.
Yeah.
So you'd go Kinski and Lefay over Xhaka and Lamens. Yeah.
I would, yeah.
Cool. He's actually sent another one. Szoboszlai or Foden with wildcard 4.
Wildcard 4.
I have been toying with this idea as well. Like that 7 million spot has just been Szoboszlai in my team, and Foden. I'm sort of flip flopping between the two. And what did he say? He's wildcarding in game week 4.
Yeah.
If you're on wildcard 4, then surely you have to go for. But you don't have to. But then it surely is Foden, right?
I think Foden in that case.
Oh no! But then in game week 3, when City have Coventry at home, Liverpool have Ipswich away. Like it's still good.
Oh, that's tough.
I'm not sure I'd go Foden. Those minutes are all over the place.
You can just see that Shirky 15 minutes in game week 1, and then game week 2, you have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, Foden stinker in game week 1, hooked for Turkey, and then what are you doing for the next 2 weeks? You're going to feel like you have to hold him for Coventry at home.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and then the final super chat. What do you think of this non-Bruno team? So,
I already know my answer.
Yeah, okay. I'll read it out. Lamens, Gvardiol, Calafiori, Shaw, Thomas, Van Uwijk. But more importantly, the attack has Semenyo, Mbumo, Lefay, Wirtz, Xhaka, Haaland, João Pedro, and Isak.
It looks great if you don't have Bruno.
Yeah, it does. Every team without Bruno looks insane.
Yeah, until you realise it doesn't have Bruno in.
Yeah.
Like, if I was building a no Bruno draft, I wouldn't want... Like, you've got double Coventry defence. You've still got Luke Shaw when people are going Maguire. You've got Enzo Lafay and you've got Xhaka. Like, the team sounds great, but it still doesn't feel... It feels so tight in those places for a team that doesn't have Bruno in it. So I would still...
Isak.
I mean, you could put in Calvert-Lewin and then...
Yeah.
It's because of Isak, I guess. But yeah.
I
but
mean,
like you say, if you want to have
to
some fun, it's a good team with Semenyo and Isak.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah, Semenyo is a good pick. We've not mentioned him once, but I feel like Maresca could unleash Semenyo. It's just a lot of money to pay for.
He just said he wants his wingers wide, creating chances.
He's got 2 assists in pre-season, right? Which kind of backs up what you're saying.
True, yeah, good point.
I mean, if he's getting 2 assists a game, then that's great, but he is more expensive than all the others.
As Sean says, he's a
quite
pillar. Started both games, he's a pillar.
Everyone's a pillar. Who's not a pillar in Maresca's team? Maresca has 15 pillars in his starting lineup.
Good stuff.
Can I ask you one question about Forest, Harry, just super quickly? You know how Sangare of Forest is 5 million?
Yeah.
Do you think he could be all right on Defcons with no Anderson?
Yeah. He was good last year, wasn't he? Pretty sure he's...
267 divided by 25. That's just over 10 per game.
Yeah, presumably it will go up. What were like Wharton and
He also
others
plays
like?
Liverpool in game week 2 at Anfield, so it could be maybe a bit of a DEFCON game. If you're looking for a bench boost, he's obviously a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to get that in because I don't know. You know your Forest.
I think he'll be fine. He was good last year. I remember he got a few attacking returns. Slightly different setup, but yeah.
Fair.
Cool. That is everything. Thank you all very much. 2 more episodes before the start of the season. Please make sure you join our league code before the start of the season. The code is T6PFPN. You can also get your team rated completely free with the link that is in the description and pinned in the chat as well. If you think your team is better than ours, then go and get them to rate it every single time you build a new one. Thank you both very much. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the preseason, and I will see you both next week.